I'm so thankful for you to come back to buy my products, to come to this store and to prefer this store to the other ones. So this is the second part for the class that we're having for the ELT125 section 2 on September the 9th already, right before the national holidays. So we were reviewing the structure of a syllable. The structure of a syllable implies that there are certain constituents or elements that should be considered part of this class. Am I sharing? Am I not sharing the presentation with you guys?
Now you're sharing.
Okay, thank you. So just as a quick reminder, every syllable has a nucleus or a peak. If there's no nucleus or vowel sound, basically, there's no syllable. The onset or the coda, they are optional. We will see syllables that have a nucleus and an onset, or a nucleus that has only a coda and no onset, or syllables in which we will see that the onset is composed by one, two, or three consonant sounds. The same thing with the coda. Sometimes the coda will be composed of more than one consonant sound. So that's important to remember. The protagonist, the birthday boy, is the vowel sound, the nucleus. That always has to be there. But the coda and the onset are optionals, all right? Let's see this aspects or information, theoretical information applied to these exercise. So I would like you to take a more leading role here in analyzing these 5 words. The same you did in the homework, in which you were counting the syllables and you were identifying the stress syllable. This time, I want you to talk about the composition of the syllable, the constituents of the syllable, and see what you can see. Do you think you can do that on your own? Or not yet?
Identify the onset, the nucleus, and the coda.
That's right.
Yes, I think I can.
Okay, go for it.
In the first one, k will be the onset. The nucleus will be the vowel. I mean, and the coda will be t.
Wonderful. Very good job. Excellent. Do you think we could do that with the next one?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. Yeah, I mean, letter H will be the onset. The nucleus will be the vowel O, and the S sound will be the coda.
Okay, very good. Almost perfect. Almost perfect. Because remember that we never say the letter H, but we talk about sounds or phonemes.
Yeah.
Okay?
I
All right.
didn't knew how to pronounce. I always forgot how to pronounce the H. I mean, in isolated. Is
Yeah, exactly.
okay.
Exactly. That's right. You got it. Um, okay, let's, I think there's a missing short E here because we need a nucleus or a peak, right? We need a vowel here. Sorry about, I don't know why I deleted this. Extraordinary. And I think there's one syllable division missing here. Extraordinary. Okay, so in this case, how many syllables are you able to see or perceive or identify?
5.
5. Okay, 5. Because the number of syllables equals the number of vowel sounds, right? And we see the division here, ig, and we have a dot here. Can you go on with the explanation on your own, maybe Sebastian?
The onset, I think, is the k or ik. And the nucleus is the vowel sound o or u. I don't remember where.
I
The
think
long
that
one.
we need to identify onset, nucleus, and coda for each syllable. I don't know
Exactly.
if you get it.
Exactly. So, for example, which is the first syllable? The first syllable should be ik, right? Ik. In extraordinary, ik is the first syllable. And in this first syllable, the nucleus is the vowel sound e, right? And whatever comes after the nucleus or peak is going to be considered the
Coda.
That's right, the coda. Okay, move on to the second syllable. See if you can analyze this in terms of the composition of it. Okay.
Would you like to go, Sebastian? I mean, to do the following.
Okay. I now, for what I understand, onset will be S, T, and R. The nucleus will be O, and the rest, the D with the schwa is coda, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the first two, I think they were right, but I think that there is no coda because
Yeah. Right. You're
I
right.
think that the syllable ends right next to the O.
It's another composition. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
this is very complicated.
Yeah. Coda is always with consonant. It doesn't include vowel sound.
I think that,
Exactly.
yeah.
Okay.
Go on, Patricio.
Yeah, I think that coda is like the same as onset, but before the vowel sound, because the nucleus is always a vowel sound. It can be um, one vowel sound. O sea, I mean, it has to be one vowel sound, but it can be a letter. I mean, a diphthong too, right? Because it's considered as a one vowel sound.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. So when you are analyzing the composition of the second syllable, straw, you need to consider from. Let me see if I can mark this. Only this, right? And this is the syllabus division, this dot. So straw would be the second syllable. And in this syllable, you need to identify which the nucleus is, which you correctly identify, or, and as you were able to identify, there's no coda, no consonant sound after the nucleus. There's only an onset composed by 3 consonant sounds. So you're doing very, very well. Now there's another syllable after this one, which is this. What can you say about the composition of this syllable?
It has no coda.
Yeah.
The onset is the letter D, the sound D, and the schwa is the nucleus.
Yeah. I think that is the same in the next syllable. No coda and only one onset and one nucleus. I mean, it's always one nucleus.
The same as the last one, the last two
Yeah.
one.
I think that's the main difference between the nucleus and the onset and coda, because in a syllable we can find only one nucleus, but so many onset and, well, in this example there are no so much codas, but maybe in some others it could be. I don't know.
I think so. I think so. Let me think about an example. In the word cold, how many syllables can you identify in this word?
One.
Exactly. This is a one-syllable word. What else can you say about the composition of the syllables? Or of the syllable, sorry.
The onset is the sound Z. T.
The k.
Yeah. The nucleus is the next syllable. O.
The next sound.
And the
I think that
rest
there
is
is
the coda.
Come
which
again?
one is the word? Code?
Cold.
Cold. Uh-huh.
Code. Oh, I heard code. Sorry.
No, don't be so cold.
Oh yeah. I think that there is a diphthong O, and that will be the nucleus. And
Exactly.
what do you think about the rest, Sebastian?
It is the coda, I think.
Yeah, I think that in this example we have two codas. I mean, the L sound and the sound. The.
All right, very well done. So actually, sorry, I think I should have done this below and not up there, not to get confused with the phonetic transcription. So, but in general, the answer is very well developed, and just a precision. I would like to point out, right, that there's one, the onset is one, and the coda is one. And it's one, but it's composed by one, two, or three consonant sounds. So we always talk about one coda or one onset or one nucleus, but the onset and the coda may be composed of one or more syllables. In the case of this onset, it's composed by just one consonant sound. In the case of this coda, it's composed by two consonant sounds, right?
Okay.
Yes.
All right, all right. So let's take a look at this one and this one, just to make sure. And I'm going to mute my microphone, and you take the lead and roll.
Well, Patricio, we do together or one
Yeah.
by one together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and classroom. In the first part, I think the onset is K and L,
Yeah. And the
and
nucleus will
the
be,
crazy A,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, there is no coda in this syllable.
yeah,
I think the second syllable, the onset is as, I mean, is an R, will be one onset composed by two sounds.
yeah. And the syllable U is the nucleus.
the the sound.
Yeah, yeah. The sound
Yeah.
U is the nucleus. So many, so many technical
Concepts.
terms. Yeah, concept.
Yeah. Yeah, you can
And the
still.
rest is the sound.
Yeah. uh, in the last one, the first syllable is composed by one nucleus. That will be the E sound,
Yeah.
and the coda will be K.
Continuing, the sound S is the onset, and the nucleus is the schwa.
Yeah. The last syllable is the onset will be the S sound, and I, which is a diphthong, I think it will be the nucleus. And the sound Z will be the code.
Yes, we are the champions.
Yeah.
Perfect, guys. I think you managed all of the concepts just like master. So congratulations on this exercise about the composition of cells. Very, very well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, what do you think about these letters that are placed next to the phonetic transcription, the ones in red? What do you think? Does it make any sense to you? Do they make any sense to you?
Yeah, I think that they refer to consonant and vowel. I mean the C and the B.
Exactly, that's right. That's correct. So what can we say about the composition of the first and the second one? This the first word and the second word, cat and horse.
They are the same in terms of syllable composition.
Exactly, exactly. The composition of these syllables is CVC, consonant, vowel sound, and consonant sound. Exactly. Now, what about the third example in which we see a very different composition of the syllables?
It has many consonant and vowel sounds.
Exactly, exactly. Specifically, if we see the second syllable, there are many consonant sounds forming the onset of that syllable. But we see that sometimes syllables can be vowel consonant, others can be, a combination of three consonants in the onset, and then the nucleus, and then the a consonant sound. The second one is VC, and the last one is CV. So um, there's a high variation, right, or difference in terms of how these syllables are composed, right? Um, Another concept, let's see if I can change the color of this. What do I change the color of this? Maybe, yeah. So syllable division is shown in the description by the use of a dot, right? So here is the syllable division, right? Syllable division is present there. Right here in exercise, we see two dots expressing this syllable division. That's how we show when we're transcribing, right? Where one syllable ends and when the next one starts. And the concept of primary stress is shown with these strokes: extraordinary, classroom, exercise. This is the concept of primary stress. Primary stress is shown with a stroke at the beginning of the syllable. If you see extraordinary, the stroke is placed right before the syllable, not after. So this is telling you that that is the syllable that you need to stress. That is the most prominent syllable. Okay, the most prominent syllable in the next exercise, classroom, is the first syllable, and the most prominent one in the next or last exercise is the first one as well, exercise. And that is the function of the primary stress, and it looks like this, like a stroke that is placed at the beginning of the syllable in the upper hand, in the upper left hand, right? That's important to remember. These two concepts, we have seen the composition of syllables, but also we have seen that syllables are divided using these dots, and that there is a primary stress also shown here. Okay, that's important to remember. And as we have primary stress, there's also the so-called secondary stress. Some people even talk about tertiary stress, and others talk about level stress or plane stress. But we're going to see this in some exercises that hopefully will clarify these ideas or concepts about primary stress. Remember that primary stress is present in, if you have a word that has two syllables, there's always one that will be stressed. If we have words containing three, four, five, or more syllables, there will always be one in which the primary stress is placed. Okay, um, what do we mean by stress? And here we have a sort of a definition that I think Patricio could take charge of. Patricio, are you okay reading this slide, please?
Okay, so stress refers to a perception. When a syllable is perceived as more prominent, it is said to be stressed. There is a combination of factors in making a syllable stressed: greater loudness, higher pitch, and greater length. And there are some examples. Atlas, sport, I think.
Sport,
Um,
I think. Sorry.
maybe I don't know. Uh, anchor. computer and sofa. Computer, sorry, computer, because the stress is in the second syllable. Yeah.
All right, all right. You got it. You got it. Excellent. Just like Sebastian said, the second one will be support. Support. That's right. So it's interesting to read that stress is a perception. I mean, we perceive that a syllable is stressed, that it has more weight than the other ones, right? You as a speaker, when you read, for example, the word perception, perception, you stress the second syllable. And the rest of us as listeners, how do we perceive that is the second syllable in the word perception that is the one stressed? We perceive it. How do we perceive it? Because it's more prominent. What do you mean by more prominent? Because the syllable sounds louder. Perception, it sounds louder than the first one and the last one, right? If you're saying the word, you make sure that you sound this second syllable louder than the other ones. You don't say perception or perception, you say perception. So that syllable is louder. Sometimes this syllable is longer. It has greater length, so it's longer. Perception, perception. Okay, now from the point of view of, or from the perspective of the acoustic phonetics, the length of these syllables, right, or how long they are, can be measured, right? And through this more technical procedure, we can really realize that the length of this second syllable is longer. And sometimes the stressed syllable, or the most prominent syllable, has a higher pitch. A higher pitch implies that sometimes the speaker rises the tone, and it goes like ah, ah. Okay, so it has a higher pitch. Those are the three elements that make a syllable more prominent, or the elements that can help us identify as listeners which is the stressed syllable. And in the examples that Patricia read, we have atlas, atlas. We don't have a class, right? Atlas. So the first syllable contains the stressed, or is where the stress is placed. The first syllable is the most prominent, right? Or is more prominent than the second one. And it's louder and it's longer, right? Atlas. The second one is shorter, right? It has a schwa. It's a reduced, it's a weak syllable. The first one is a strong syllable, okay? And in the case of the second example, support, the second syllable is the strong syllable, and the first one is the weak syllable. So schwas are always going to be in weak syllables, in syllables that are shorter in terms of duration or length. They are going to be not loud. Okay. The same thing in the rest of the examples: anchor, computer, sofa. As you can see yourself, the strong syllable contains any other sound than a schwa. Schwas are always going to be in the weak syllables. Okay, and syllables that are going to be shorter and not as loud as the vowel sounds that are present in stressed syllables. Okay, so loudness, high pitch, and greater length are the concepts associated with stressed syllables or syllables which are more prominent. Okay. Now, the concepts of loudness, higher pitch, and greater length are the ones revised in the following slides. So, Sian, could you read aloud this slide, please, if you are okay with that?
Yes. Loudness. This means the sound is produced with more energy, usually with an open vocal tract and voicing, as vowel sounds are louder than consonants. They are described as more sonorant. Loudness has to do with a greater muscular effort, which results in a more dense and bigger airflow.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sebastian. So loudness is the concept of loud. I used an illustration here to refer to one guy receiving a phone call, and the person talking is really, really loud, as you can see here with the sort of well, the description is quite graphic. So it's the sound is produced with more energy, usually with an open vocal tract. So there's more airflow that's coming out of the vocal tract, right? The more airflow, the more the louder the sound is, right? The less airflow probably is not so loud, basically. In general, vowel sounds are louder than consonants because there's more airflow when you are producing vowel sounds because there's no friction, there's no obstruction, right? Vowel sounds, when you're producing them, the airflow leaves freely through the vocal tract. It's for the consonant sounds that in general we interrupt, we stop, we block, we cause friction when we're producing consonant sounds, but not with vowel sounds. And a vowel being not being loud, but producing sounds louder involves a great muscular effort, right? Because you want to sound them louder, you have to involve more energy and more actions from more muscles, right? So this there's more airflow coming out in the production of these loud sounds or strong syllables. Patricio, are you okay with reading the next slide, please? This one refers to
Okay.
pitch. Thank you.
So pitch means that the rate of vibration of the vocal folds is greater. That is, given the same amount of time, the vocal cords show more cycles of vibration.
That's right. So when we talk about pitch, we talk about the vocal cords or the vocal cords, and if you have ever seen vocal cords in action, you see these membranes that vibrate. They vibrate very slowly when the sounds are deep. Like when someone is talking like this, like that, right? The vocal cords vibrate very, very slow, and there is a high pitch when someone talks like talks like this, the vibration is quite rapid, very, very, very quick. And so for a high pitch, there's more tension in the vocal cords. When you have a high pitch, when you're talking with a very high pitch voice, the vocal cords are tense, right? Very stretched. And the vibration is very, very quicker than when you're producing very low pitch sounds. Okay, so that's something that has to do with cycles of operation. Just like in the image here, you see the vibration goes quicker when the vocal cords are more tense and the sound is high pitched. Okay, so in general, for example, we can see that men in general have a low deep voice, the vibration is slower as when you hear someone like a woman or a child that has a more higher pitch voice. So the vibration of the vocal cords is rapid. So that has to do with vibration when and pitch. When we produce a stressed syllable, sometimes there's a higher pitch. When we're producing this stressed syllable, there are more cycles of vibration produced. Um, the the um, the vocal cords vibrate quicker when you are producing that particular stressed syllable. Now, stressed syllable have these three factors or three elements present, but sometimes their high pitch is not really appreciated. You cannot perceive the high pitch, but you can perceive that the syllable is loud or that the syllable is longer. Sometimes you get 2 out of 3. What's the third one? The third one is length. I'm going to read this because it's quite short. Length has to do with the duration in the production of a sound. I mean, if it's long or if it's short, that's basically it. And in the case of stressed syllables, usually they are longer than unstressed syllables. Okay. In phonetics, English words can be divided into 3 groups: monosyllables, disyllables, and polysyllables. I don't know if I'm still sharing the PowerPoint. I think I got it. I don't think I'm sharing I think I lost the presentation. Can you see the
Yeah.
presentation?
No.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. There's something that something that I pressed that made me lose the presentation. Maybe I'm sharing it now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. So English words that have 1 syllable, 2 syllables, or more than 3 or more syllables. Basically, that's what it's to be understood from these very complex words: monosyllables, disyllables, and polysyllables. 1 syllable, 2 or 3 or more. Okay, and every time we have 2 or more syllables, there's always one that's going to be stressed. One of the syllables is going to be stressed, and we call this word stress to make a difference between word stress and, say, a sentence stress. Okay, that we're going to see later. So far, we're at a word level stress. We're going to see, for example, now in the word divided, how many syllables and which is the one that is stressed. Divided, in this case, the second one, right? I talked to you about different types of stress, right? And sorry about the misspelling here, usually. So there's a primary stress, and there's a secondary stress. Sometimes people call, when I say people, I say phoneticians, right? Talk about even stress or double stress. Let's focus on the primary stress first. So this is a heavy stress marked with vertical stroke on the upper left-hand corner. If we see the example here, in yellow, which one do you think is the primary stress?
I think that is placed in the third syllable. Nation.
Perfect. Exactly. This is the primary stress we can see in the third syllable. Perfect. Excellent. And the secondary stress is subordinate to the primary stress, so it's not as important. It's it's shorter and probably not as easy to identify. It's marked with a vertical stroke on the lower left-hand corner of a syllable. Do you see a secondary stress in the example provided in yellow?
Is in the beginning? No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. In the first syllable, in, right? In. So this is a primary stress before the third syllable, as you mentioned, and this is secondary stress before the first syllable. The word is, can you guess the word using the transcription?
International.
Excellent, international. International is a very long word, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, and the point is, international sounds like you can divide this word into two, I guess. For example, national and enter, right? What about the first word, enter? Do you think you can use it with other words? Can you say enter something, enter? Can you add another?
Intercontinental.
Excellent, intercontinental. Any other?
Interdental.
Perfect, interdental. And does it have a meaning when you say intercontinental, interdental, international, interracial?
I think that
What?
maybe is like a connection.
Okay.
Me inter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right. A connection. A connection, right? International. A connection between nations. Interdental. Interdental. I'm thinking about the word think, initial consonant sound, think, or then. That's an interdental sound, right? The, think. Why do we call interdental the initial sound in think or thought?
Sorry, what?
Remember last semester we talked about the description of consonant sounds, and we said the initial sound in the word think or thought is interdental, or the first sound in then or they is interdental. Why do we call that sound interdental?
Because it is produced with the tongue and the between the both teeth, something like that. I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because to produce the sound, we place the tip of the tongue in between the teeth, between the upper and between the lower teeth. Between, right?
Yeah.
So maybe, yeah. So if we apply that concept between, so international, maybe between nations, right? Among nations, international, intercontinental, intercontinental between or among several continents. Okay, so the idea is basically that the word enter becomes a suffix, or sorry, not a suffix, a prefix. We can place it before, right? And we can give the word a different meaning. There are some prefixes that change the meaning of a word to exactly the opposite. For example, if we have the word possible, and we want to make it opposite, we say impossible, right? Impossible. So we add this prefix, and we change the meaning of the word. Um, for example, I'm thinking about other words. Can you think about words that have prefixes that change the meaning of the word? It happens in Spanish as well. For example, when you say happy, the opposite in English is unhappy, right? Unhappy. Okay, so in general, in terms of stress, some of the prefixes that we add may have this secondary stress, but the primary stress will always be placed in the word that is going to be called the content word. We're saying the noun, the verb, the action, sorry, the verb, the noun, the adjective, or the adverb. Okay, the primary stress will always be placed on the content word and not on the prefix. Okay, so let's keep this so far very simple. Primary stress is always present in words. Secondary stress is usually present in long words, right? And double stress or even stress is present in some words. We're going to see this that is not so common, but it exists, like in words such as 15 or Berlin. 15 Berlin. Okay. This is the last slide for today. We're going to see the stress placement, some general rules that are going to be applied. For example, a general rule that we can see in letter A is that in general, for simple words, right, words that do not have any derivation process, any prefixes, any suffixes, they're just just the original word. When they have two syllables, the stress usually falls on the first syllable. Common, nation, open, study, sorry. Okay, so in English they have two syllables. The stress will usually fall on the first syllable. That's sort of a general, very general rule. Okay, and words that have three or more syllables, the stress will usually fall on the third syllable from the end, from right to left. So universe is one syllable, two syllable, and this is the third syllable from right to left. Universe. The same with article. Article is the first syllable that is stressed. Relative, exactly the same. One, two, three. The third syllable from right to left is going to be the one stressed. Democracy, one, two, three. Democracy. Economy, one, two, three. So in general, words that have three or more syllables will be stressed in the third syllable from right to left. And another general rule for compound words, words that are composed by two words like sports ground, bathroom, language teacher, the general rule is to place the primary stress on the first element. So sports ground, bathroom, and language teacher. Sorry about the stroke. Okay, language teacher. So these are the general rules for words that have two syllables, right? Three syllables, and compound words. Okay, so this is going to be the last slide for today with the general rules for stress placement, or where we place the stress in general words in English. So later on, we're going to see some exceptions. Okay, so this is the last slide for today with the generality. The exceptions are going to be quite tricky, but we're going to take a look at them next session. Gentlemen, do you have any comments or questions before we finish this session?
I really liked the today's class. I think that it was like a private class because we were just two students, and I think that
Yeah.
I learned a lot, and I remember also a lot of things. So I think that it was very useful.
I'm glad.
The
Very, very
same
glad.
as Patricio for me.
All right. All right, Sebastian. I'm very glad. I again congratulate you for participating because you were pushing the class. You were not shy, right? But you were engaged, and thanks to that, we could carry out the class the way we did. So thank you again for joining. And the recording anyway of this class is going to be, because I'm going to be posting a link in the LMS for this YouTube channel in which all the sessions are going to be stored. Okay, so I'll see you next in 2 more weeks, I guess.
Uh, I think that on Friday.
On Friday, okay. So on Friday is going to be this
Yeah.
yeah, last class, and then we have this sort of a break,
Mm,
week off. So I'll see you on Friday. Have a good day. Goodbye, everyone.
uh, really?
Goodbye.
Do we have a wake up?
I guess.
18th September.
Okay. Goodbye.
All right, double check that, confirm that. Okay.
I didn't knew that.
Okay. I'm sorry about giving you bad news. Oh, good news. I'll
Okay.
confirm that later. All right. See you around, Patricia. Take care of yourself.